Welcome to UniqueCreatives ChCh. 48 projects, 20 minutes, 6 questions, 1 city. A special interview series documenting the range and quality of creative projects taking place in post-quake Christchurch.
I'm going to head down this afternoon to meet up with Audrey Baldwin and Adrienne Millwood, who are the curators of First Thursdays in Christchurch, and we're going to have a talk about the last event, which was called Lost in Space, and the ones that they have coming up. Tell me, what is First Thursdays?
First Thursdays is an all-ages entertainment event which encompasses art, live music, markets, performance, poetry, all sorts of things. First Thursdays Christchurch takes place in Sydenham 3 times a year, and basically it's aiming to bring the public out to Sydenham to celebrate and revitalise the area and also support local businesses and artists.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How many have you had so far?
We've had 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, so last year in October was the very first one, and then our last one was 2nd February.
And yeah. I understand you have a theme for these. What have we had so far?
We do have a different theme for each one. The first one was Stars of Sydenham, so kind of a old Hollywood theme. In February we went for Lost in Space, retro sci-fi, really outrageous, silvery, metallic things. We had things like a robot parade, we had space-themed tattoos going on, we had like lots of kind of retro sci-fi things going on. We had a giant robot installed in the Colombo hanging out for a couple of weeks in about 14 square metres of tinfoil. But we also had group art exhibitions and poetry readings and all sorts.
Wonderful. And for the next one?
Next one is the 4th of June, so this is our winter First Thursdays, and we have got a paper, scissors, rock and roll theme. So we're covering a lot of things. So it's not only the music and almost quite a 50s, a little bit rockabilly, rock and roll theme, but there's also, we've sort of loosely got a lot of workshops going on around paper, so paper making, origami. We're going to have some zines. What else have we got that's paper-based? Installation, mask making, artists. We're thinking about collage show as well, so there'll be an exhibition of that. So yeah, there's going to be actually quite a lot going on, and quite a bit of drawing. So we're going to have some drawing that people can participate in and both draw themselves and be drawn. So there's a whole range of stuff. We're pretty busy right now with the program and just finalising those, and that'll be able to be released quite soon.
And can you tell me what it is about the project? Why did you guys choose to get involved with it? What was it that inspired you about the project?
I've been working alongside Warren Feeney with Artbeat for a number of years now, through my work with The Social, which was kind of a collective of local artists bringing art into kind of public spaces and making quite low-cost, lo-fi, but easily easily interacted with work. And this kind of builds on that. Warren had said that it would be great to have Artbeat happen more than just in summer, and that we needed to find a way to make its presence felt throughout the year. And so First Thursdays is an international thing. It started in Seattle 2005 or something, and there's not really any particular rules, but it is about engaging the public with the arts community, and we kind of wanted to take it a step further and make it more community engaged and bring as many different elements together as possible. I'm really passionate about Christchurch. I want to see it revitalised. I want people to understand that art is essential to keeping a city's heart beating, and so this is a way of doing that. And I also, because I'm part of this group of artists in Christchurch, I want to see my friends and associates, to give them a platform to put their work out there, which has been really hard since there are not that many artists run spaces and studio spaces available. So I'm mainly in it because I want to see the city revitalised, and I want to see work happen. Yeah.
And one of the exciting things with this next First Thursdays will actually be the opening of a new gallery and studio space in Sydenham. So it's going to be, and that's Warren Feeney again and his initiative. And so on the night there'll be, within the gallery, a show, but also the studio spaces will be finished, and we're going to use them for certain workshops, but they will be taken over after that by the artists. Yeah, so a range of artists. So that's really exciting. is a whole new venture.
How many spaces will there be?
Looking at the plans, about 11, but quite a few of those will be shared. So the bigger spaces will be taken over. So you'll end up having, at least 15 artists probably working out of there, which is really an exciting thing to locate that within. Yeah. Pretty close to the city centre, actually, and to have those spaces available.
And is that a permanent space?
Yeah,
that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
It's really exciting.
Really,
because the different. It's one thing to have places to show what you make, but it is that you need somewhere to make, and that's been probably, I would say, the major issue for most visual artists and all sorts of artists that I know, to have places to practice, to make what they do. That's affordable, essentially.
And shared space as well, because it's really hard. You can make work in your bedroom, that's fine, but you don't have that conversation in that community and that sense of being able to just pop next door and say, oh, do you want to come and have a look at my work and where I'm at, and have a conversation about it? And that's so essential for my practice.
Yeah, no, it is for mine
that
as
sense
well.
of community is key.
Yeah.
And is it community, or is it feedback, or is that being able to bounce ideas off people, or...?
Definitely the conversational, sounding board conversation is very key.
Yeah. And there's also just an energy, I suppose, that is about creating. And when a space has a variety, it doesn't really matter what discipline, whether it's music, performance, painting. It doesn't really matter. It's the making sense that can happen. That creating energy that is actually really inspiring when you make your own work. You can. Yeah, that feeds into your own practice as well.
So would you say your own practice changes depending on whether you're working on your own or around other people?
For me, I think it's a faster process. I don't know if it changes so much, but it means that because I get to talk it out with people and exchange ideas, my ideas develop faster and I kind of learn to articulate things quicker. And it makes the process a bit less painful for myself. It's a bit less sort of self-doubt ridden if I can actually have a conversation and instead of sit in my room and agonise over something for several days. Yeah. And I'm sure, I think, of course, your work is going to be influenced by the people around you in some way. So, not vastly, but there's definitely an influence there.
And where do you think First Thursdays will go? It's amazing. You've already there's something completely long-term and tangible that's come out of this, these artist studio working spaces. Where do you see it going in the future? It's already a great achievement, but do you think you can achieve more?
There's that thing of part of, I think, our motivation too and ideal is to keep it as low cost as possible. I think that's a reality, and make it in terms of an event, it doesn't need to grow and grow and grow to become, I don't think, a massive thing. We sort of are quite happy to keep it about that.
Yeah, the essentials. We don't want to end up having to close off Colombo Street, but I would love to see more businesses get involved and more people get in theme and just take part. They don't have to have an artist that we've placed in there, but just having more of the community take part and people actually have it as an event on their calendar so that they know that there's something happening. That would be
that would be the ideal.
And getting artists who know that this is a thing that's happening, that they can go, oh, hey, keep me posted.
Can I be involved in the next one?
And getting I want to see it consistently enrich this community and build up maybe Sydenham as more of a creative quarter, because I think that's where it's trying to head anyway, and this is really going to help it.
And you've obviously been involved in sort of performance and visual arts yourselves in the past. What's your earliest memory of being a part of a collective sort of arts thing and being excited by it, I suppose?
I think for me it was not my first group show at university, because that was awful. But the second one...
Brutally honest.
It was awful. But no, the second one that we had was great, and it was in the old mill in Addington, upstairs in this derelict building. It's
a great show.
Which no one had been into. We had to scrub pigeon poop off the floors wearing masks, because apparently that shit's toxic. But it was really great because the whole sculpture department, from second year through to fourth year in honours, were just in there scrubbing in, taking part, taking ownership of this space, and you know, we all had our little jobs, and we all had this element that we were in charge of, and it was great. It was really exciting to be part of a cog in a bigger picture. It was really nice. Yeah, and I guess that has actually really, the group shows for the sculpture department at art school have really influenced the direction that I've taken with my life, because I really enjoyed making those shows happen and making something bigger that kind of showcased a group of people, and learning how to collaborate for something that actually is beyond just the people involved in it.
Yeah, which is the same with the social and things like that. I mean, we've had group shows with the social. I mean, mine, in a way, I can only really think, I mean, I'm sure there's things I've been involved in and I've felt part of that. In a way, I mean, the community, I used to be quite involved in the roller derby community in Christchurch, and they early on particularly were pretty huge performative events as well as the skating, and it was the same thing. You know, everyone is taking part to make this one thing really, really work, and you've got one night to do it. But then art school as well. I mean, I think that felt just that sense of a creative community, even if it wasn't that you were actually doing a particular show or anything. I mean, there was definitely that sense of that, and so I think that's part of what happens when, even if, you know, artists are self-taught, they're often in isolation. They struggle to find a community, and often it's an online community, and that's fine, you know, and that fulfills that role, and forums and all that sort of thing. But when you've, say, come through one of the institutions and then suddenly you've been surrounded by all these people and you're talking to them all the time, you just are suddenly on your own, and you're actually looking for ways to still collaborate with people and create those communities together. So, you know, things like First Thursdays is picking up, I think, on bringing some of those artists still back in a little bit and helping them have something to work towards. It's sort of involving them being seen actually in quite a public space. That's the other thing about First Thursdays is, I mean, there are a few select gallery shows, and also part of it is this time around we're going to have buses that actually have, which is really, really exciting. So we're actually having buses that will pick up people from our set zone points, and they'll drive them to the next area where there'll be something happening, and then there'll be another one, and people can pick them up at any of those points.
Great.
So that's really great.
Like a journey. People are off on a journey.
Yeah.
And then there's that sense of I'm travelling, and that sense of excitement, and who's going to be on the bus.
It's like a lot of it is about, when we first started First Thursdays, one of the things that we wanted to do was showcase Sydenham's hidden gems, and it's about exploration and adventure and looking at an old suburb with new eyes and looking at what's new, what's changing, and what's actually always been here that you just haven't seen. Some of the feedback that we have from a lot of people is, I never knew the Salvation Army shop was there, it's amazing, I'm going to go back. Just little things that people didn't know even existed, and small, like, local businesses that really benefit from that. That local knowledge. It's a lot of people that actually don't live in Sydenham, that only pass through, and then they come in and they're like, oh, this is a great place. It's about giving it more of a profile. And because there are galleries, so part of that's what I was going to say. So there are, like, Jonathan Smart and Delano, and there are spaces, and they're very much connected to First Thursdays as well, because internationally that tends to be the focus. It's because you're dealing with areas where they run a First Thursdays in London, and in that one night there may be 150 galleries they can go to on that first Thursday. But when you're dealing with our situation, it's a totally different one, which is why it is the focus on, in a way, the community itself and the retailers in that area, as well as the opportunity to see some art in different places.
And so is the art the starting point for this then? Is that the...
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we all come from an arts background. That's where our passion lies. And I think that we all see art as an important transformative device that can be used to further everything. It's... You know, sure, we definitely have live music and food trucks that's kind of like dangling the carrot to get people who think they don't like art out to this event. And then they come out and it's like it's sprung on them. There's art everywhere that they didn't expect to see, and they like it. And so that's something that I really dig, is surprise, awesome art, that you're getting an audience that you're not preaching to the converted because they're not coming to the gallery spaces. We're bringing the art to them. But
then also people potentially seeing some of the shows that are at those galleries that wouldn't have otherwise have gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is nice too. So they're getting a different audience too, because of the whole event.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just to finish off with, we're interested in talking to more people around the city. If you could interview anyone or sit down and have a conversation with them now, who would you want to sit down and talk to, and what would you ask them?
In Christchurch?
Yes.
If I was a braver person and better with my words, I would love to have a cup of tea with Jenny Harper and talk to her about the role that the Christchurch Art Gallery plays for emerging local artists. And I'd like to talk to her about how the gallery works with local artists and emerging artists, and see whether that's in the future plans or whether that's that's who I would like to sit down and talk to.
That was my first thought too.
Oh, interesting. So you think there needs to be more support from the establishments for people who are local and emerging?
I know that there's, it's a tricky one because it's a council funded and it is the holder of the city collection, and acquisitions in the collection is actually a huge part of what that gallery is positioned for. But some of the exciting things that happened as a direct result of the earthquake is that push outside of that, and what you have to do when you can't get big name artists to show in the city who are from outside the city, and what happens with that, although they did manage that. But there was also this interesting thing that happened with the Outer Spaces program, but now that's not going to happen anymore, and I also have similar questions, I think. I'm not necessarily able to articulate what that is very clearly, but I suppose it's a space within that for to not have a divide between so-called transitional projects and things like what we're doing and your institution, but maybe it is, and that has to be like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the very dichotomy that you actually have to have.
Yeah. Because I'm not anti what the gallery does. I think it's a really important space, but I would be interested to see their thoughts on it. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I hesitate. I guess it's a shame that now, 4 years on, the word transitional is rusted. And I don't. It's been overused, and I don't like the idea of framing our projects as transitional, because I feel like just because it's not a tangible big man steel sculpture that it has other reaching effects. Like, for example, after the first Thursdays, Warren organised a massive drawing show in the Colombo that wouldn't have happened without that first connection. There's these Battersea Street studios are another outcome of this project. So even though it's a one night only event, it has far-reaching effects that do have permanent kind of ramifications, and that's great. And
do actually have really positive outcomes for people beyond the people that are directly involved in First Thursdays. Other artists who suddenly need a studio and now they have an option or a space, because one of the main focuses for the gallery at Drewsbury Lane, which is its official name, is that that's going to be a space for graduates to show for the first time outside of their school, basically. So they'll actually have the opportunity to do that, which is quite
There's
fantastic,
nowhere else like that in town.
No, not really.
Thank you both so much for your time. We've talked a lot, and thank you so much. It's been fascinating.
Thank you.
Proudly supported by the Christchurch Creative Communities Scheme NZ and Orange Studios.